In this video, we're going to discuss just why you gain weight, and if you are overweight, just why have you put on those extra pounds and how have you put on those extra pounds. And if you want to stop gaining weight, I'm going to tell you exactly how to go about doing so. So now, before I begin, I want to ask you a question, and I want you guys to answer me honestly. And I would like for you to actually leave your comment down below, because this content is going to directly relate to the content of this video. So number one, what was the last thing that you ate? Number two, about an hour after you ate that meal, were you feeling more energized or were you feeling less energized? And the third question is, do you ever experience sugar cravings? And if so, what do you crave the most? So please leave me the comment below and we'll discuss that later. So how do we become overweight and why do we gain weight? It really seems to me, and I don't believe anyone's ever told us why we actually gain weight. And I know it's a really good reason for that. Now this is information that the big food companies do not want us to know, because if everyone knew this information, companies like Coca-Cola, General Mills, Anheuser-Busch, Frito-Lay, McDonald's wouldn't be making half the amount of money that they do, because they wouldn't be selling us as much food as they do. And if you think that the association like the American Dietetics Association or the American Heart Association have your back, you should know that these organizations who distribute most of the nutritional information to us are usually sponsored by the big companies like Kraft, McDonald's, M&M Mars, Hershey's, companies like that. And if you think that the FDA and the government want you to lose weight, you must be mistaken about that too, because they make millions of dollars off of us every year by making sure we're not fully informed, okay? They wouldn't be making half as much money, okay? And then you have people like me, an information junkie who just can't keep her big mouth shut. When I learn something and I find that it's pretty evident and I truly believe in it and I have a passion for it, I like to tell everybody about it, because I want everybody to reap the benefits that they can from the information that I've learned. So let's get started. Okay. And then I do want to let you guys know, a lot of the information that I have gotten is from the YouTube channel Psyche Truth with Karina. I really enjoy and admire her information. She's a certified health coach who has lots of information about processed foods, whole foods, good foods, genetically modified foods, and things that are harming us that we have no knowledge of. So please go check out her channel. Okay, so if we found a big gigantic syringe and stuck it into the part of your body that had the most fat and pulled out all of those fat deposits and analyzed that fat, most of it would be due to the primary reason that I'm going to talk about in this video. Now, the majority of our padding and our spare tires is due to the spike in high blood sugar level. Now, we've all heard the term of blood sugar levels. The primary thing to understand is that we do need sugar in our blood. It's what gives us energy. But at any given time, the blood sugar level of a healthy person is usually about 1 teaspoon of sugar in the blood. And so anytime that we eat something and the results of us having more than 1 teaspoon in our blood, insulin is going to release into our blood, and then our cells are going to start sucking up that extra sugar and turning it into fat. So it really is that simple. So anything that helps to spike up our blood sugar level too quickly or too high of amount of sugar, our body is going to respond by storing that sugar as fat, and then again and putting on more and more excessive weight. So like, what exactly would cause this spike in our blood sugar level and have our sugar levels going up and down? Okay, There are a couple different reasons. Let's take the example of McDonald's French fries. Now, if we order a medium fry from McDonald's, that's converts into about 47 grams of sugar. That's almost 10 teaspoons of sugar. So when you eat the French fries, you put 10 times more sugar into your blood than that required than a normal blood sugar level. If you figure that 1/4 of a teaspoon is the difference between a normal blood sugar and a diabetic sugar level, the 10 full teaspoons would be 40 times that amount. Since our metabolic system has to work really hard to deal with the sugar load from the fries, imagine what it would have to do if we ordered a large soft drink and an apple pie or cookie on top of that. So basically what I'm talking about is consuming an excessive amount of sugar or an excessive amount of carbohydrates. So it's like blowing up a balloon. Instead of blowing up a balloon full of air and expands, we're just blowing up our bodies with starches and carbohydrates and sugars. And the more starches and sugars that we consume, the more that sugar is going to be turned into fat, and the more that we're going to expand like a balloon. Now, I'm not saying that you can't gain weight by consuming an excessive amount of proteins and other kind of fats, but for the most part, most of the excessive fat as the average American is coming from carbohydrates. Now let's take a look at what the average person's fat really consists of. So let's just go back to the analogy of the syringe, of me analyzing the fat that I pull from there. Okay, the largest amount of fat comes from processed and refined sugars and foods, okay? Especially like corn sweeteners, corn starch, corn oils, and all of the other foods that they make out of corn. So that's your colas, your candies, your corn chips, your donuts, your McDonald's, and in general, just most of the things that are on the grocery store shelves in the middle of the aisles and not the outer aisles of the grocery store. And just remember, the primary things that they feed chickens and cows, like the corn feed, we eat that because those animals eat that, and that's that corn that fatten them up. So if they're eating that corn to fatten themselves up, then we're eating it and we're fattening ourselves up as well. So it also goes into play with the corn being a modified organism, a GMO. That's not good as well, because if they're consuming it, then we're consuming it, and consuming those things are what has made those animals sick and get those viruses. Okay, so if you're not sick of hearing about corn, I advise you to go over to that channel, The Psyche Truth, and they have a lot of information about corn, modified organisms, and things like that. Karina's great. Okay, so now that also plays into refined wheat products. That's like bread, buns, pastries, cereals, pasta noodles, and beer, of course, wheat. And we just have to understand that those breads and buns and bagels and things, even though it doesn't taste sweet, it does contain high fructose corn syrup, and it's made in those. I will challenge you to look at the ingredients and find that ingredient, and if so, try to reduce the amount of bread and things that you eat. Okay, now let's start talking about some of the refined sugars. Refined sugars, there are a lot of added refined sugars and a lot of things you would never have expected that you're eating. Potatoes are another refined type of sugar. Even though it's not sweet, it's a carbohydrate, and it turns into sugar in your body. So your body takes the carbohydrates and the refined sugar, and when it's overloaded with too much refined sugar or carbohydrates, your body cannot metabolize that fast enough, and it stores it as fat. And that's what helps us gain the jiggle and the wiggles. You know, usually when you eat food, and if you experience the first sign of feeling very, very tired and very, very groggy, that should be your very first indicator that you have just spiked up your blood sugar level. And if you're still feeling very, very tired and groggy after that, and you don't feel like doing anything, you should know that you've just pretty much eaten the wrong things and too much of it. Okay, so that excess sugar has been absorbed, and now that sugar turns into fat. And then if you eat that food and still start feeling a little hungry shortly after that, now you really know that's a second indicator that you've boosted your blood sugar level way too high. So you have to be careful. Now, another indication is that you'll be having very, very, very strong cravings for more sugar and more carbohydrates. And that's because your blood sugar level is spiked down way too low, and your body is trying to get the blood sugar level up, you know. So we have to really be careful with consuming carbohydrates. Those are some great indicators to understand what carbohydrates, refined sugars, and high fructose corn syrup, and processed and packaged and boxed food does to us. Okay, so now that you understand those things that have caused us to be fat, you probably want to know what can cause us to start losing weight. Okay, so if we can start taking some of the processed, packaged, and sugary foods out of our diet, we can start losing weight. So they have a lot of videos again on Psyche Truth. You have to check out that channel. They'll give you some information on which foods are good to eat and which foods to avoid so you can start losing weight. Okay? So I hope that this information has been helpful. If so, please give me a thumbs up so I can bring you more information so we can understand how we've been getting fat, why we've been getting fat, and what we can do to stop getting fat. I'm going to also be bringing you more recipes and more advice and more information about some of the right books that have actually helped me to lose weight, and maybe it'll help you. So, like I said before at the beginning of the video, don't hesitate to leave me a comment of which foods did you eat last? Did it make you feel energetic or less energetic? And please leave those comments, and I will be talking to you soon. This is Tammy at Tam's Glam Slam Reviews. I love you all, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.